Cardboard versus biochar, the shocking soil test every gardener must see. Have you ever had one of those moments in the garden that completely flip your tried and true methods upside down? Well, let me tell you, this is one of those moments. The motivation: two foolproof soil techniques collide. Cardboard mulching and biochar are both widely praised in gardening circles, but for very different reasons. It's like a clash of the titans in the world of soil management. Cardboard has been my go-to for weed suppression and soil improvement. Lay it down, water it in, top with compost or mulch, and you've got an easy, low-cost way to smother weeds and build organic matter over time. Plus, it's eco-friendly recycling. It's a pretty straightforward process that has served me well. Biochar, on the other hand, is the black gold of soil structure. Made by burning organic matter in low oxygen, it's praised for improving soil aeration, microbial activity, and nutrient retention. I've used it to boost tired soils, and the results have often been impressive. It's like giving your garden a breath of fresh air. So here was my idea. What if I compared these two methods directly, side by side, under the same conditions, in the same garden bed? Which one would give me better soil structure, healthier plants, and stronger yields over time? I set up the test expecting a clear winner. What I got was a wake-up call. The experiment, setting the stage. To keep things fair, I selected a uniform 4 by 8 foot raised bed that had decent but not stellar soil, a classic loam starting point that hadn't been amended in a while. Side A, cardboard mulching. I laid down overlapping layers of plain, uncoated cardboard directly on the soil surface. I soaked it thoroughly and topped it with a 2-inch layer of compost and wood chips. Side B was amended with biochar. I charged high-quality biochar with compost tea for about 2 weeks, then tilled roughly 1 inch of it into the top 6 inches of soil. After that, I added a thin compost mulch on top to help reduce evaporation. I planted identical sets of tomatoes, beans, and lettuce right down the center of each half, watered everything evenly, and just let the test run for an entire growing season. Early results gave me, well, a false sense of victory. At first, everything seemed pretty predictable. The cardboard side looked fantastic in those early weeks. Weed pressure was virtually zero, and the soil stayed consistently moist, even during those hot spells. The tomatoes on that side shot up with lush dark green foliage. The biochar side, meanwhile, struggled a bit at the start. Biochar can temporarily lock up nitrogen, and I noticed slightly paler leaves and slower early growth. If I'd stopped observing after 4 weeks, I would have confidently declared cardboard the clear winner. But gardens are marathons, not sprints. Mid-season surprises. The turning point. By midsummer, subtle shifts began to emerge. The cardboard side, which had been thriving, started to show some unexpected issues. First, the soil beneath the cardboard began to compact slightly. Cardboard blocks evaporation effectively, but it can also reduce airflow if not balanced carefully. After weeks of irrigation and warm weather, the soil below turned dense and slightly anaerobic in patches. I could smell that sour, swampy odor that signals reduced oxygen levels. Meanwhile, the biochar side had found its rhythm. As microbial activity ramped up and the biochar became fully integrated, the soil transformed. It felt springy and alive, like a sponge that held moisture but, never got waterlogged. Earthworms started colonizing the area aggressively. The lettuce on the biochar side suddenly exploded in growth, producing larger, crispier leaves. The beans developed sturdier stems, and the tomatoes started setting fruit earlier than their cardboard counterparts. When harvest season arrived, the scoreboard flipped. Tomatoes, biochar side, produced 21% more yield by weight. The fruits were slightly smaller but far more abundant. Beans, cardboard side, actually lagged behind. Biochar beans were taller, leafier, and had more pods. Lettuce. Biochar lettuce was consistently crisp and vibrant, while the cardboard side showed some signs of mild root rot in dense soil spots. And when I dug into the soil, oh, the difference was even more dramatic. The cardboard side was moist, but, slightly clumpy, with compacted layers just beneath the decomposed cardboard. Now, the biochar side was a whole different story. It was friable, rich-smelling, and teeming with fine roots and worms. I realized I hadn't just run a materials test. I'd uncovered a fundamental interaction between air, water, and microbial life that I had overlooked. Here's what I pieced together after some digging, pun intended. Cardboard mulch is excellent short-term for weed suppression and moisture retention. But if it sits as a dense layer without enough oxygen exchange or breaks down unevenly, it can trap moisture and restrict airflow, leading to anaerobic pockets. In cooler, wetter climates, this effect can be even more pronounced. Biochar, while slower to show benefits, acts like a soil architecture booster. Its porous structure creates microhabitats for microbes and improves both water retention and drainage. Over time, this leads to healthier root zones and more resilient soil ecosystems. The real kicker? I had assumed cardboard was always feeding the soil, but in reality, its benefit depends heavily on how well the soil underneath can breathe. Biochar, on the other hand, improved the soil's ability to self-regulate. If you're deciding between cardboard and biochar, here's my honest takeaway after this experiment. Cardboard is fantastic for short-term weed control, especially if your soil already has good structure. But, it's not a magic bullet for soil health. Always pair it with plenty of compost and make sure drainage and oxygen exchange are not compromised. Biochar really shines over the long term. It does require some preparation, charging it with nutrients before applying. But once it's in the soil, its benefits just compound year after year. Think of it less as a mulch and more as a structural amendment. Best of both worlds? In future experiments, I plan to combine the two. Biochar mixed into the soil, with a thinner, perforated cardboard mulch on top. If done right, that could offer weed control without sacrificing soil aeration. Final thoughts. Rethinking proven methods. This test truly humbled me. It reminded me that gardening isn't about memorizing rigid formulas. It's about observing, experimenting, and adapting. What works beautifully in one context can, fail spectacularly in another. I had used cardboard for years, and never really questioned its long-term effects on soil structure. This experiment, it made me realize that even the most popular techniques need to be tested, not just trusted. Hey, join the soil revolution. If you found this story eye-opening, go ahead and share it with a fellow gardener who loves experimenting. I post real, honest garden experiments like this all the time on SoilSage Chronicles. Because honestly, the soil always has more to teach us. So make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the follow-up where I combine cardboard and biochar to see if we can get the best of both worlds. And drop a comment below. Have you ever had a gardening technique surprise you like this? I'd really love to hear your story. Let's keep learning, growing, and, challenging the rules together. Here's your evergreen gardening takeaway. Cardboard suppresses weeds, but biochar builds soil. So choose your tool based on your soil's needs, not just the trend.